and welcome to Magnets, Crystals, and Pyramids. I am your host for the Ankh Rising Sun, also known as Uncle Hinky, also known as Magnet Man. And I want to thank you for being a part of this show. Each week we bring to you geniuses, light waves, love beams of unique creativity, insight, innovation for your elevation, activation, so you can be successful in your life's endeavors. As always, before we start the show, we want to invite our Ascended Master Ancestral Ghost Army to be a part of this platform. So without further ado, I want to, in the name of my own I am within you, the listening audience. I am within the sea of life. In the name of love, I ask the presence of the Ascended Masters, Sheikh Amadou Bamba, Simeon Toko, Saint Germain, Nikolai Tesla. I ask the presence of Wilhelm Reich. I ask the presence of Sanat Kumara, Yahshua, Melchizedek, Enoch, Mother Mary, Black Madonna, Rolling Black Cloud, Buffalo Calf Woman, Lakshmi, Kuan Yin, Goddess of Mercy, Elegba, Oshun, Olokun, Ochosi, Yemaya, Ogun, Shango, Obatala. I ask the presence of George Washington Carver, Harriet Tubman. I ask the presence of Geronimo, Chief Osceola, Chief Crazy Horse, Chief Sitting Bull, Chief Seattle, and all the princess, goddess, warriors of antiquity. I ask for the presence of Archangel Michael to protect all of our family members and loved ones, wherever they may be. I ask the presence of Heteru or Set. I ask the presence of Imhotep, Ptahotep, Akhenaten, all who are serving the sea of love. So we, as wave particles of life, can remember we are from the cosmic ocean of love. And together we say, Ashe. So for the first hour, I have the honor and the privilege. We were supposed to do the opening with Master Kilindi, but unfortunately, somebody booped him upside the back of his car, so he cannot be a part of us. So he has designated one of the medicine women to speak on his behalf, along with another medicine man who I call Soulful Psychedelic Guide, Master Kevon, Sensei Kevon. So we got Sister Acacia and Sensei Kevon. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be a part.
Absolutely. Thank you as well. As an honor. This is Acacia.
Yeah. So first thing I'd like to ask you, are folks spooky about psychedelics? And what I mean is there a reservation, a hesitation in the so-called conscious community about usage of entheogens? Because it seems like there's a rise in the younger folks versus the older folks.
Absolutely.
Please tell us more.
Kevon, would you like to speak on this topic, or would you like me to go ahead?
We could go back and forth. We can take turns. We can go.
Yeah, tag team ping pong ball this back and forth, and I'll sit on the sideline and watch the ball of controversy go into multiple realms of analysis. Please continue.
Well, I would say there absolutely is a lot of hesitation, and noticeably because of a large portion of our community perhaps not being as connected with the indigenous medicine, with the sacred mushroom of, say, Mexico, sacred mushroom of Cambodia, a lot of the time it seems like since there is a disconnection in the information that's being transferred, there's a lot of hesitation due to apprehensive and fear based on watching other people's experiences who may have not had the tools and the resources at the time to be able to access medicines or tools of exploration that were designed for full and complete sojourns and healings and whatnot.
I agree. And what I also find challenging for some of the communities that I would just, sometimes I want to drag them into the circles, but what I find is there's a huge resistance in the POC community because of experiments being done on the, people of color since the medical establishment came to be. We are the guinea pigs to figure out if something works. So I understand why many people have a bit of reservation or apprehension when approaching these topics and subjects, and even though it's their birthright and inheritance, I see why. I myself, for a long time, I thought it was like along with meditation and yoga. When we first got introduced to these things, we thought they were just things that white people did. So there's also that hurdle of, well, that's the thing that white people do, but it's not the thing that white people do. It is a thing that they have seen in other cultures and have brought back, and there's no reason why we can't do the same thing, and also unlock what is in our own blood and in our own culture and our own plants and so on.
And, that actually leads into, Kevon, and thank you for bringing that up, that leads into a lot of the crystal work that we're going to talk about today, because that goes into activating the DNA, activating the archetypes from our ancestors. If you want to go back to the Kemetic times, if you want to go back and study under the Fulani, the Woadabia tribes, the cattle herders, you want to go back to Ghana, like we are people, and we have been working with the mushroom for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And sometimes it helps to be able to activate that DNA and cleanse oneself in that specific signature, so that one may receive the information from the ancestors to really fill in some of maybe the blind spots, the gaps that cause apprehension in the first place.
Very well said. So this isn't a recent mega trend, Keisha, for all those who are listening and they're not familiar. How come we haven't heard, Kevon, Acacia, how come our black historians have never touched upon the sacred herbs of our ancestors?
I feel that there's been a lot of manipulation of the information getting out there. When it comes down to it, like Kevon was saying, from what we eat in the United States. I watched a lecture a couple of days ago speaking about the genocide of the junk food genocide of the African American, specifically population in America, and it really helped me to put into context with my experience with the mushroom in particular. One of my great teachers that showed me, even in my own self, the meta-programming that I had received prior to encountering my elders who worked with the sacred plants, to automatically remove any sort of interest that I might have later on based on old meta-programming, old data structures that come in through not only the food we eat, but what we take in through the eyes, what we take in through the ears. And it's gotten to a point of toxicity where you kind of have to remove yourself out of the paradigm. You can't heal in the place where you got sick. And a lot of times, if we go out looking for the information on the internet, for example, we'll find little bits, little gold nuggets here and there. But it's very difficult a lot of times, at least it was for me, for people to be able to put together the puzzle pieces in a coherent manner and then go dig and look for the sacred nectar, the alchemical gold of our elders who placed this information out there for us to receive in the first place. You really do, through use of the medicine or the mushroom or the ayahuasca, receive downloaded information to look at the blueprint of what was laid out for you, because it's hidden in plain sight.
Mhm. And a quick answer is colonization, and
Yes.
through our culture, right? So let's go back a little bit, not so far back, right? But just back to the 80s or 90s or something. And my first introduction to anything shamanic was the movie Chucky. And the guy was going, do dem bella, some crap he was saying. But my first view of black shamanism, voodoo, was making a doll possessed that scared the shit out of me. And I didn't even want to pick up a rattle for years or know anything about it. And we are demonized that way for many, many years. So it is a matter of decolonizing our consciousness, and not just for POC, but for also white people as well, because they have suffered from the abuse they've given to others. So we have to collectively decolonize our consciousness if we're going to shift what's happening on our planet right now, in the Amazon, with Africa being on fire as well. There's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, you just mentioned the fires of the Amazon. I believe there's also the fires burning in the forests of the Congo. Is that what you're making reference to? And if so,
yeah,
touch on that more, please.
It's well, from what I saw online, I could definitely dive in and do a little bit more research, so I don't mind being corrected if I'm wrong. But I saw one of the memes that I saw had the fires in the Amazon overlaid over America, and it covered pretty much the entire size of the East Coast from about New York to Florida. And then it showed that the fires in Africa were 4 times the size of that.
Wow. Is this an intentional burn for cattle, or is this?
Yeah.
Oh no.
And this is going to really damage the herding communities, especially our folks who have been working with the mushroom. That is the area that is destruction of one of the world's largest data sets of information and knowledge and wisdom and tradition that is being under attack right now. And it's really important that we consciously, send as much energy that direction as we can, just simply because we've got the Amazon on fire and we've got Africa on fire. But the biggest thing that's happening right now is the distraction of our minds in America is not allowing us to really connect with what is being altered right now, what is being lost right now. The focus is completely distracted from that.
Wow. I just saw this. I have this announcement in the news about Johns Hopkins has become the largest psychedelic research center in the world.
Yes, they have. And they're also right now in, I don't know if it's Johns Hopkins or if it's Mass, but they're in phase 3 of the psychedelic studies for making MDMA available to the general public, and they're only just now thinking about the POC population, really late in the game, and having to do really quick training courses to figure out how to serve it. It's just the monopolization of psychedelic therapy is nightmarish, because it's going through the same system that created so much slavery to medicine in the first place, that it really is up to the underground people to wake up and get to action right now.
Right, absolutely.
We're also opening up in Jamaica, University of the West Indies in Mona, Jamaica. Research is wholly funded by the Canadian psychedelic company Field Trip Ventures. So now Jamaica universities are exploring psychedelic research with the shrooms. So why is it here that we don't hear about in the Black Christian churches and in the religious institutions about this sacred entheogens?
Well,
I'm just playing devil's advocate now. Go ahead.
I'm in Oaxaca right now, and if I go over to a grandmother's house to go find the sacred mushroom, she's going to be keeping it on her altar next to a statue of the Virgin Mary. It is a sacrament. And what is lost in the United States is
you mean it's not in the office?
fear-based mentality that the mushroom is the devil, because in the church I come out of a family who did a lot of work in the Pentecostal Apostolic Church in America. So when I say I've seen the amount of fear-based propaganda out to even the conscious Black community from the churches, it's because of the separation of the sacred purpose of the mushroom. It doesn't matter what religion you are. If you go back far enough, you're going to find a link between it and the medicine. You're going to find a link between it and the mushroom. You're going to find a link between it and the ayahuasca if you go even to Santo Daime. So it's really important in America that we bridge that gap, because it doesn't matter whether you identify as Christian or Pentecostal in the United States, especially for the Black community. It is connecting with God within yourself. Out here, they say, we had the mushroom to show us who and what God was. That is who showed us who and what God was before the colonizers came. And that is something that is really important, is to be able to go back to that point where you can receive these sacred downloads to your DNA from your ancestors in the Olmec, Toltec compendium of information. It's very important that you are able to reprogram and decolonize, just as Kevon was saying, and create a safe space for yourself within that. Because when you start to go deeper in your sojourns, you're going to notice that the people in those communities, your outreach to them is very important. So,
but it puts us all in a very tricky situation, because on the one hand, we are now finding out about this through colonization. Because Jamaica me come from. The people who live in Jamaica, the opposite ear say the mushroom grow over there. So, but that wouldn't have happened without.
Do that again, bro.
I can't. It just flows out when it's time. But without white people going there and opening up these mushroom centers, that interest of the mushroom in Jamaica wouldn't have, and with the hippies that have gone there, wouldn't have spiraled out into, I guess, rebalancing this entire situation. So, because a lot of POC walk around with a lot of that anger, and it's difficult to work through. And for me to work through it and to continue showing up in spaces that may not be always welcoming, I hold a space of gratitude for all that has happened to get us all to the point where we're able to meet again. And it means it can be a very difficult challenge. But what is more dangerous to the POC heart is holding on to that anger and resentment so much so that it makes you so ill that you cannot show up for the time that's happening now. So
absolutely. And in Oaxaca and in other places in Mexico where I've been able to study the sacred mushroom, even in Toluca, for example, I've gone to a lot of elders' houses who picked mushrooms for generation after generation after generation and sat before their fires, eating pozole and holding space with them outside of the colonized perspective. And it was really important for me to be able to deprogram myself from the method in which I was introduced first to the mushroom. I was introduced to it as a teenager in Houston, okay? And my first experience was not an experience that she would consider to be very sacred. Most of the people I knew who took mushrooms at that time were they felt that it had a very limited use for physical enjoyment purposes, and that was fine at that time for me. But I noticed my first experience that I was going back in time. I was going back.
Yeah, it wakes you up no matter where you are. It's like it's your turn.
Absolutely. And even my elders said, "Oh no, I've never seen the mushroom do that." The things I was describing to them at that time seemed completely foreign, and it seemed offensive to them that I would associate it with African spirituality or Mestizo spirituality or Latino spirituality. At that time, when I would speak of those things, they felt that it was very foreign. So when you go back and you're able to connect with the authenticity of that which is you, that which has always been. I am that I am. And then you bring it back to a community that has very little space for you to express the African spirituality, like the Orisha dance, like Ifa, and the mushroom. I was having a lot of difficulty finding others to relate to during those times, especially in my first experiences, due to the fact that the approach to mushrooms was set in setting, 5-gram type experience, not going back to the sacred methods of crystal gazing, of teleporting, of exploring other dimensions of consciousness. That was not something that was really introduced to me firsthand. The mushroom itself introduced it to me. And then through that, I was able to find and relate to others across the country through my first experience. But the community at that time had no space for that sort of experience to even be had.
Very well said. Why do you think, Acacia, Sensei Kevon, why is Silicon Valley embracing microdosing? What edge do they seek to experience?
I have something I want to say about that. Coming from the field. All right. When I was 14, I had a degree and I was studying astrophysics. So I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, I've known lots and lots of people in the tech community who have used microdosing as a means to recalibrate and rethink and find a source of creativity, not necessarily even close to spiritually, but to give them more energy. And in the tech industry, if you're a programmer or a developer and whatnot, if you take a microdose of LSD, you start to deconstruct your computer. You start to deconstruct your programs inside yourself and inside the machine, because you start to understand that the machine is a part of an apparatus that is spiritual as well as physical, but it's not always acknowledged that way. The creativity is valued, but the spiritual value is lost a lot of the time because of seeking the energetic benefit of having a clear mind, having a creative mind, rather than connecting with some of the other uses of, say, microdosing LSD. Microdosing LSD for me, it was very productive. However, the way that I did it was I did my ultra work with, say, a microdose of LSD. And it was different for me, but it carried over to the technical world.
I want to share. Yeah, go ahead, Kevon. Please.
For me, my experience when I was invited to speak at the Chacuna conference last year, August, I stayed at the co-hacking house in the Silicon Valley, and it was just very strange being there. Like one of the people welcomed me into the home, but everyone was like really in their like brain world, so to speak. They had all these like weird hats they put on their head, and I mean, we can be as innovative as we would like to be with them. But what I realized was the heart in the home was empty. I realized that the welcoming energy was not there. So once that person who introduced me left and went to wherever she was going to go, we really bonded and, you know, had a moment where we were crying together and hugging each other, and like a little hippie psychedelic moment. And then when she was gone, that whole energy was gone. And it was just so very strange. It felt like I was living in a house of computers and not people.
Yeah.
And so we have to be very careful when we're using these psychedelics, even microdosing, to take us away from the whole purpose of them in the first place. When I microdose, I use it to write very quick, multi-layered poetry where the word purpose, I can see all the words in the word purpose. I can see rose, I can see pose, I can see use, I can see sop. I can break down words quickly. In the word medicine, I can see cine in Spanish. I can see mine. I can see me. I can see all these words when I microdose, like I did yesterday. And it kind of lingers and makes your wordplay a little bit different. And for people who are in the avenue of communicating these things, it's very beneficial that way.
Fascinating.
Yeah, there's something I would like to add to that, by the way. For the microdose, I really think that when you use it for your homework, when it isn't your main objective, when you use it for your homework as a supplement to the spiritual work or creative work that you perform, like Kevon was saying, it becomes a different type of experience. It becomes a bridge through which you can have a blueprint for your work. You know, you don't take the microdose to escape. You're taking the microdose to fill in that blank because you are asking a specific question of the medicine spirit. You are asking a specific, you are investigating a specific subtopic in your own personal journey. And it becomes less of a accessory to your material life and more of a study guide. Personally, like with the crystals, what the crystals did with the microdose, even though the crystals do not activate, it allowed me to download and receive and to control the flow of information that I was consciously trying to bring back from my more fulfilling experiences with the medicine at a full entheogenic dose, say a 15-gram or 20-gram experience. I might use a microdose later on to go back to the 0 point, and of course, time not being linear, revisit that place in my experience so that I could bring back in totality that which I was studying or working with.
Wow. Very interesting. I want to share, Sister Acacia, we met at Master Kilindi's psychedelic conference in Detroit last year. And Kevon, when I saw him on the Eastern Parkway, he reminded me that he was there also. So I uploaded.
For the last day.
You were there the last day? Okay, cool.
Oh, amazing. And I just missed you.
And I uploaded your presentation that happened in the backyard onto my YouTube channel, Magnets, Crystals, and Pyramids. What I have found in using the entheogens is enhancement of innovation with magnets and crystals.
Absolutely.
Not as a form of escapism, not as a entertainment substance, but actually for
as an
innovation.
apparatus.
Yeah, like there's a famous picture that back in Doc Ellis Jr., he hit a no-hitter. He was a pitcher. He pitched a perfect game June 12, 1970, and he said he accomplished that feat while he was under the influence of LSD. He pitched perfect no-hitter game. What that simply means, family, his throws of the baseball was so unique that none of the batters, none of the men at the baseball mound could hit the ball because of his enhancement of his motor skills being in a different alternate state of reality. Go ahead.
With LSD, I didn't want to bring this up. With the LSD, ololiqui is something that came to me, a word on LSD. That's the actual blue morning glory flowers that grow here in Mexico, ololiqui. And if you look at the statue of Xochipilli, the Mayan Aztec god of dance, and he's also the god of homosexuality. He's also the god of the medicine plants here in Mexico. His statue is Xochipilli. And he has flowers carved on him. He has the tobacco flower. He has the ololiqui flower. Ergo and the blue morning glory flower, they have a very similar plant medicine energy and intelligence to them. So when you say that about the no-hitter game, what I visualize in my own experience with LSD at a higher dose, I had a LSD from the Grateful Dead. Audio technician. Yes. It was the audio technician. That's when the crystal started to change, started to get very white, very pure. The LSD did. So I took that with my San Pedro experience, and the plant medicine spirits complement each other, the ololiqui and also the intelligence of the mescaline cactus. And in my experience, I had traveled to another dimension, and my transdimensional crystal did activate on that high of a dose. And it was very interesting because my transdimensional crystal gave me the option to be able to move my body and my biocrystalline energetic field in such a way that I could consciously alter the density of the gravitational energy coming from my fists, coming from my palms. I do a dance. I do the Orisha dance a lot of times. And when I'm doing the different dances, you speak of Yemeya, you speak of Oshun, Olokun, Elegua. I noticed that the LSD, the Olo, the ability to cut into the groove of reality, cut into the dimensional grid, and move my body like the freezes of Soshipili, the different movements and stretches and positioning of the freezes of the Aztec and Maya and Olmec and Toltec deities. Also open up different avenues for you to move your body in more advanced ways to connect with the interdimensional grid. So I just wanted to touch on that for a minute.
You reminded me of something when you said that. I was in a very difficult situation. I guess I should just say it because I don't make light of it. Life unfolded in such a way that I ended up in a homeless shelter, and I had to stay there for 2 months. And what I understood from that experience was that Spirit was putting me there in order to, and this may be a little occult, a little esoteric, but I feel like I'm in the right crowd for this information. I feel like Spirit put me in that situation to open a portal of energy that was not possible before, or has a kind of a level of light that was not present in the neighborhood before I entered that part of it, in Brownsville, Brooklyn. And I remember that being one of the most difficult high-dose solo-fits I ever did of my life. And at the not the peak of it, I guess the emotional peak, not the visionary peak, right? But like coming down, the part that was most difficult, because, I landed back in my room alone. So that's a different kind of emotional peak or depth, or I don't even know what the right word would be. But I remember tapping on my glass in that room and saying, does anybody hear me or want me alive? Does anybody hear me or want me alive? And I closed my eyes, and when I closed my eyes, many different kinds of pyramids and lights and grids began to beam out into that part of Brooklyn. And I understood in that moment that it was my intention or my purpose to rise above that pain I was feeling, and in the plane, the pre-manifest plane, visualize through the psychedelic experience a new possibility for that part of Brooklyn, vibrationally, before it could manifest physically. And once I did that work, I was able to finally get out of that situation. But it wasn't before doing that work was I able to leave.
That is amazing. And I just wanted to go ahead and add on to that. I've actually had many similar experiences with the mushroom and also with LSD, as far as basically having the preeminent, preconceived, I guess you could say, claircognizance from the medicine plant of the energy, that the reflection that you would like to imbue in a certain area of your life or a certain location that you're in, that you're struggling in. And first, acknowledging and seeing the effects of what you are going to do before you could think to do it. Basically showing you in a parallel time space, in a parallel visionary and emotional state. When you sink to that 0 point of consciousness within yourself, time doesn't exist. So you start traveling forward and backwards in time, and where your intent is leading you, you will also find different levels of dimensions that you will bring with you with that intent that will also help to co-organize the reality in that specific area of your being, whether you're homeless or whether you are in a place in New York. That place is many other places. The cellophane thin layers of reality start to decompress. and you start to become less dense yourself, so you begin to become aware of the other dimensional constructs. And when the dimensional construct shifts, you can manipulate the matrix in such a way that you receive that energy and that blessing that you say that you were meditating on or thinking of, that place that you wanted to travel to, becomes manifest as an overlay or an underlay, so to speak, in your consciousness in that location.
You know, that's some advanced concepts you're sharing in this conversation. And you know, I'm basically a high school grad with a military background. However, I've had the experience, and I want to share this. Many people have financial challenges, and many of us are carrying forgotten programs. So one of the things I just want to share, I used to practice massage therapy for years until I moved into a product line. One time I did a microdose before doing the massage, and I asked Grandma Aya to give the massage through my hand. And when I finished the massage, the individual said that was the best massage they ever had.
Yes, and that's because you asked the plant. You asked ayahuasca, what can I do for you? You said instead of asking the plant medicine, okay, I'd like to give a massage, you gave Aya the ability to take over the apparatus that is your body, and her consciousness moved through you to create the energetic alignments that were perfect and centered, because Aya was having the experience through your body of giving that massage. It was no longer you. You were the observer, but you took a back seat to the intelligence of the plant and another person's physical body.
Yes. And another experience was there's another side to plant medicine, and that is, Sensei Kevon, I'm going to speak of this in the martial arts sense. I truly believe and I truly know there's a side to dealing with the medicine plants that embrace psychedelic martial arts. In other words, you can go into these realms, access a person who may have treated you unjustly, kick their rabbit ass all kinds of dimensions, all over the place.
It is not nice to do such thing.
They will be busted up with bruises, and they will remember that you came to them in a dream or in their nightmare, but you wasn't there. Can y'all touch on that?
Yes.
I know nothing. I know nothing.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, my goodness.
Because
the crystals come in, too. It's one of those things. Are you there?
Yeah,
I'm here.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things where I will speak on this. I can say I know nothing on certain things myself, but when it comes down to doing martial arts on the mushroom, I love martial arts. I practiced with a good friend of mine for a while, and, you know, I worked with the mushroom, a 9-gram dosage, 15-gram dosage, 20-gram dosage, going into the multiverse, also training on a lower dosage, 2-gram dosage, 3-gram dosage on a regular basis, martial arts with the mushroom. And
I'm not talking about physical martial arts. I'm talking about in the ethereal realm, kicking some ass, but they get physically spanked.
And that's something that you can do, but at the same time, with the stones, like the transdimensional stones and whatnot, when you go into the etheric realms to go and perform martial arts, as above, so below. So you go in with a certain intent, and you see that someone has been sending you some negative energy and whatnot. You can perform healings in the same way that you go in and kick some butt, because what you're kicking is the entity that was attached to that person that was causing problems in the first place, the AI and whatnot, the programming that caused the person to do any harm or malintent. When you send yourself, when you send your etheric field, and you are given a representation of doing battle, you are really doing battle not with the person's higher self. You're doing battle with that which they were fighting. So you're fighting on the same team, so to speak.
Yeah, that's a nice
how
way.
How I approach it, because there's all these other these levels of magic that we get into that manifest and are painful for people. And I try to hold on to the concept of do no harm, because my background is really mindful. It's really based in Buddhist in Buddhist teachings, and I just don't want to cause. Even though in my blood, in my lineage, and from my Jamaican ancestors and African ancestors and Taino ancestors, there is this power that can do harm in that way. I choose to, when someone is really provoking me that way or pushing my buttons, I choose to just say a little prayer. And sometimes that prayer is, dear Great Spirit, please give them the lessons that they need to quicken their awakening process. Because the Spirit is going to give them whatever. And I've watched that beat someone's ass just by asking for that. So not asking for harm for them. Some people, their soul knows what they need to wake up. And I remember I went in with a woman. She was so judged. She was judging my health, judging my situation. There's so much judging, and I was teaching and helping her. And she had, this boyfriend she had just met, and I became like the friend who didn't need to be around anymore. And they were just really unkind, and they were not black people, to say. I don't want to color it so many other ways, but I mean race was a part of it. And I just prayed for them to understand what it was like for a person of color living in this world. And 2 days after that, her boyfriend had lumps all over his face. He was going around delivering weed, and legally, like medicinal weed to whoever he delivers it to. And he said he went somewhere in the Bronx, and a black man and a Latino gentleman fought him and dangled him from a staircase. And they all of a sudden understood that racism in America was real. But I didn't say, dear Spirit, send them something evil. I said, dear Spirit, please give them an experience that will help them understand. Without wanting any harm. But some people need like a slap in the face to wake the fuck up, if you know what I'm saying.
Wow. I also had the honor of meeting a young sister. She's now probably in her late 20s, early 30s. She was conceived while her mother and her father were doing shrooms. Let me say this, Acacia, Sensei Kevon, listening audience, she has unusual psychic abilities. She was meeting people at the Philadelphia Locks Conference, and she was giggly and bubbly, like a happy-go-lucky sage, and she was reading people as if they were glass, to the point that there was one sister who was working with me that particular year, and she got unnerved by her being able to see through her like transparent, as if she was transparent, until the woman, she was starting to get like, uptight because she was reading her so effortlessly. What is the possibilities, and the question is to you, Acacia, and also you, Kevon, the possibilities of psychedelic enhancement of procreation? In other words, what do you think it would be like intentionally asking a highly evolved avatar soul to be incarnated while doing ayahuasca, while doing shrooms, or while just finishing bufo?
I don't know.
I absolutely would say that, without a shadow of a doubt, I've met beings, and I've also been in the process of working with even a partner of mine in the process of conceiving a child through those same means with the sacred mushroom. And I can tell you that when you are communing with the soul and the spirit of a child who wishes to come through you, in the process of creating the matter and the DNA in the conceiving process, prior to the birthing process, you allow them the ability to consciously evolve their DNA. And you have a situation where you have a child who has these abilities simply because you know why they came back, and they know why they came back. And also, they have the physical characteristics of the evolution that took place while you were communing with the plant medicine. So the alignment takes place prior to birth. It takes place in the conceptual process. And the spirit, the soul of the child who's choosing to come through at that time is part of that house, of that spiritual community. And as a productive member of that community, can make input on the way that you need to nourish yourself while you are carrying your child, while you are in the process of making decisions based on what the name of the child will be. The child will tell you its name. Say, okay, my name is this. This is what I have come to do. You will see the ancestral realms, and you will see the portals open through which the soul is going to come through. And that will prepare your mind and the child's mind that is in the process of being created, of being co-organized, the molecules being co-organized in the body. That will allow a breach, so to speak, of information to the fetus, to the child, so that the child has what they need to perform their task in this dimension when they come through.
I still don't want no kids. I don't want no kids. I'm just kidding.
In the future, do you think doulas, there could be shamanic doulas, women who guide the woman through psychedelic meditation to supercharge the fetus to excel in all facets of life? Is that a possibility, Acacia?
Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, because the mother makes sure that the child has the healing. When she heals herself, if I heal myself and I'm carrying a child, and I genetically and consciously activate the DNA within myself to be the best mother I can be, to be the best vessel I can be, to open up the portals, to excel beyond what it is to be a woman, to go back to the divine feminine codes, to go back to the archetypes of Heru, to go back to the archetypes of Aset, to reprogram and deconstruct the vibration that I want to hold myself in to even conceive a child. If I go back there within myself, there's a infinite benefit to the fetus. There is no other way.
Powerful. And I'm going to share with you, Kevon and Acacia, that I had met the Tantra master, Nit Yama, at the National Black Theater several years ago. And I walked up to him and said, ayahuasca, shook his hand. And in the conversation, he said to me, if you really want to excel in being able to harness the universal ocean of healing light, tap into the toad medicine. Because he said after he tapped into the toad medicine, his healing abilities went to quantum levels.
Absolutely, and subparticle realms. For me, the toad unlocked the access within myself to go into the subparticle frequencies and the realm to see the triple thick darkness, so to speak. The toad unlocks a prehistoric amount of information within the human genome that I am convinced of. And when you combine it with your, let's say, you are rebirthing yourself before you are birthing another being. So you come through the triple thick darkness, you come through and you wash yourself, you cleanse yourself, so to speak, and you bring back the infraparticle frequencies, the infraparticle information that is within your melanin, within your DNA. And once that is aligned, once you come through the bufo, let's say if you were going to give birth to another being, how much more powerful of an experience that would be for the being coming through to receive that information from your body to the body of the child because it's an anti-inflammatory. The 5-MeO-DMT, the bufo, is extremely powerful. It's a lot of different alkaloids. I could not name them all if you asked me, though. But most of the alkaloids work on the human body in very novel and artistic ways as far as healing different issues of inflammation in the brain, inflammation in the body. It's very, very, very potent.
I also want to share the experience of a brother who came through one time, and what he wanted, he put his intentions. Oh, first, I have a couple of them. I got a few of them to share. Which one you want to hear about first? Ancient future or orgasmic therapy on shrooms?
Orgasmic therapy. Well, now you said one. you gotta pull straws.
Okay. All right, who's gonna do
It's
both?
okay. Go ahead.
Okay, first one we'll deal with, because Kevon hit the button first. Boom! So, a sister friend was a survivor of sexual abuse as a child, and she was shut down from experiencing orgasm in her adult life when she was with her partner. Regardless, she was shut down, and she was not in touch with her inner joy. So we sat down and we put the intentions into the shrooms, and this was about 2:30 in the afternoon. And approximately 40 minutes, she burst out laughing, and it was in the summertime, and she laughed so hard you could hear her laughter echoing off the building across the park and back into the window. This happened for about 4 hours. Then, at around 6 o'clock in the evening, between 6 and 6:30, she started having full-body orgasms, peeled out of her clothing, started squirting, and this went on till 1:30 in the morning. So what I had to do, I also had another group coming in, Sensei Kevon, for meditation, and it seems like women are hardwired to know when other women are in states of bliss, because they heard her moans and laughter from the other bedroom, and they said, we want whatever she's having. 10 psychedelic acacia be used for trauma healing.
Well, I completely agree that the mushroom is good for trauma healing. And more than likely, it sounds like she had an experience of reconnecting with her own accountability energetically of how she would like her body to be treated, and reprogramming herself on a very high level. And that's really good to hear. So that's my comment.
I think what I can't assume what her experience was, but when I have worked with my own sexual trauma, what has been helpful is seeing that I'm a soul in a body that has created the experiences of my life for me to awaken within. Or one of the first messages the mushroom gave me was, we choose our conditions of remembering. And so when I'm like, I'd say that over and over again, we choose our conditions of remembering. So when we're ready to remember, all that is really shed, and it is orgasmic in whatever sense that may be. It could be an actual orgasm through the sexual centers. It could be through tears. It could be through something exploding through your heart. It could be an orgasm of the mind, echoing into all planes. So, but always the conditions of what has happened to us, and this is how we're able to forgive them, is seeing them as perfect, as part of the perfect harmony and manifestation of this realm we call Earth and 3D and so on, is that we choose our conditions of remembrance.
Here's the other experience. Happened right in my living room. A brother, he just started a relationship, and he wanted to know where he came from, and he wanted to see the moment of his death. So what he did, he put these intentions into the mushroom, and he told me after that he was carried across galaxies, universes, and taken to a planet covered with pyramids, and that was his impression of where he began. Then he was carried into the future of New York City, and He looked at me like he was told not to tell the future about New York City. And then he shown his grave site. And on his grave site, he said, I saw my grown daughter standing on the soil above my tombstone. Now, this was several years ago, Kevon, Acacia. Do you know his firstborn was a girl?
Oh, boy.
Wow. That's amazing.
I don't want to see nothing like that.
I ain't got the balls to see that, man.
I would like to talk about the crystals with that because I had a similar experience with the ancient future where I was transported to my beginning in the Sirius star system, Dog Star. And
hey, now.
I had an experience where I was flying over the pyramids and I saw my spiritual house. I saw all of us flying over and paying homage and going back in time and going and spending time with the Neteru. So it was something for me that the mushroom has always been very high level technology as far as allowing the gates to be opened within the soul to go back in time to that beginning point, to that imprint point. And the crystals are very important because they are the gate openers for me. Like the transdimensional crystal that I received from Baba Kilindi, it was very important that I be the apprentice of my own crystal. Even though it was my crystal and quantumly entangled with me, it's always been my crystal. So it contained the memories and the records of my experiences prior to this lifetime. Many thousands of lifetimes of information, all the pearls of those experiences gathered into one stone. So when I gazed into the stone with the mushroom, I was able to ride the ridges and the crests of the stone in order to go deeper into my own self-healing. So I go into a self-healed splinter inside the stone where it had healed around that point. And the reflection would open a portal within myself. And as long as I could remove all distractions, the crystal would say, take in only what you need. And a lot of times, going back to the distractions that we have in our mundane life, the only thing preventing us from being able to see our beginning and our end. The only thing preventing us is the distractions. So the crystals are very important because they keep us focused on the bio-crystalline grid inside the body so that we activate and self-actualize, and there is no space for AI genetic experimentation. There is no space in that moment for the meta-programming that has been holding us back, the frustration about colonization, the frustration and guilt about our sexualities, the frustration or trauma that we were working through. There is no space because you go to the 0 point within yourself.
I want to share about the doctor who brought forth the term orgone, Dr. Wilhelm Reich, and God bless his spirit wherever he may be. He wrote a book about orgasm, and he said that, I think it was, if I'm quoting correctly, between 80 to 90% of all diseases is dysfunctional orgasm. Why is it, Acacia, Sensei, Kevon, why is it when people go into higher states of entheogens, they experience orgasmic bliss?
Well,
is orgasmic bliss healing?
Yes, absolutely, I could say. In my experience, if you go back and you go and look at the Buddhist scripts, they're basically a testament to the work that was done with the sacred entheogens. So you look at the nature of the Buddha, for example. You know what they say? The first example of the nature of the Vajrasattva Buddha, or Avalokiteshvara in the old Sutra books you read, is bliss, orgasmic, full body bliss. And 90% of what you remove is keeping you from that bliss that you always have at the singularity point, at that 0 point within inside yourself. So when you break through and you experience that bliss that has always been there, you are removing the layers of observerdom that kept you from that pure bliss. And that pure bliss leads into crystal clear clarity, like you were saying, seeing like through people like a glass. That crystal clarity comes from removing the layers of material existence that we once identified with. And once you go back to that point, the healing just gets deeper and deeper from there.
Wow. Oh, wow.
So if you see like the yin yang or like the Dharmakaya, the images, you'll see two deities making love. You'll see a smaller deity holding on to the chest of a larger deity. And together they are in sexual union, it appears. But at that point, it defines ecstatic bliss, orgasmic bliss at that point, because they are absorbing and absolving dharma together. They are removing it, and it's being expelled. The darkness and the light at that singularity point together create contrast for one another. And then all of the dharma, or the experiences, or the guilt, pain, suffering, and anxiety are absolved and turned into compassion through that sacred activity within the self.
Yes, and the name of that book is called The Function of the Orgasm by Dr. Wilhelm Reich. And his books were burned by the U.S. government because orgasmic dysfunction is what keeps people enslaved. And one of the quotes from Nityama, he said, the most sexually liberated people that he's experienced are Latinas. The next most sexually liberated, he said, were European Americans or Europeans. And the ones who are the most sexually suppressed, he says, is American black women. And I don't know about Africa, and I don't know about, people under, religious suppression, because the interesting thing is the Islamic countries have some of the highest rates of pornography watching. So I think that's rather fascinating. We're coming up on the 8 o'clock hour. Oh, there's one person, a brother who wants to speak from, I want to bring on Brother Dooley. He wants to touch on information to share. His number is, let me see where his number is, 617. Okay, hold on. Let me bring on Brother Dooley. He's another young, amazing brother. Brother Dooley, welcome to the show. You're speaking with Sensei Kevon and Sister Acacia.
Peace, Dooley.
Hello.
I have the wrong extension, but welcome to the show, and tell us if you have a question or comment to share. (614-301). Welcome to the show.
Oh, hey, I'm just listening. I'm working and listening. That's all.
Well, thank you for listening.
Well, there was
Brother
something that I wanted to go back
Brother
and touch
Dooley,
on. We never got to.
Is Brother Dooley on?
Sure.
I'm Andrea Evans on Facebook.
Hey.
Did he hear
Greetings.
me?
Yeah.
Greetings, Brother
Speak up.
Dooley.
Yes.
He's my Facebook friend.
Oh, he is?
Yes.
Yes,
Well,
I'm
Brother
Andrea
Dooley,
Evans.
he's on the line now. Brother Dooley, welcome to the show.
I'm online. Hello.
You're live, brother.
Dooley.
Say hello to Kevon and Acacia.
Hey, Devon, what's the dealio? How's everything, brother?
Everything is great. It's wonderful to be on here
Acacia.
talking to conscious people.
Oh, man. I've been listening. Hey, Acacia, what's going on, girl? How's everything? How you feeling?
I'm doing great. I'm out here in Oaxaca. I was about to partake of the sacred mushroom tonight. Tonight is the night I'm going
beautiful.
in tonight.
Beautiful. I was, Brother Hank. I was at a wonderful Mama Aya ceremony the other day, and wonderful sister from Brazil. She had like 3 other sisters with her, and we all went into our higher state at that moment, right? And I turned into Krishna that night, man. It was beautiful, man. You know what I mean? And I just find it very interesting that we have these higher archetypical, archetypes, dwelling within us, man. And I went into straight Krishna form that night, man. It was beautiful, man. It was just a beautiful experience, man.
For those who are not familiar with the energy of Krishna, could you just keep it simple and say what Krishna energy feels like, or what Krishna?
Well, what happened was, Krishna, I was brought to Hare Krishnas when I was a little boy with my father, but he's in India, he would be considered the god of love. You know what I mean? Bringing that manifestation of that heart chakra energy, and it was wonderful because with this tradition of ayahuasca, they do in Brazil, they do a lot of dancing. So there was interesting that we was making the movement that night also, because we want from hearing y'all speak earlier even about like the martial arts and all that, right? One thing that always happens to me with the mushrooms is I go into spontaneous movements, and a lot of times doing a lot of ancient martial arts practices that I've never studied in this lifetime, you know what I mean? So just going fully in with Mama Ayahuasca and then moving the body, it's amazing because people that listeners out there that might be having aches and pains, right? You might say, oh, I got this going on with my knee, or I got this going on with my wrist, or whatever. When you're in that high vibration with the medicine, you're automatically in a state where you could have spontaneous healings right there. You know what I mean? So it's a beautiful thing when you're in ceremony and you're moving the body, because you're at a higher place now where you could be able to say, well, my higher self is telling me to move this way or do that way to bring forth this healing. You know what I mean? And also what was interesting, yeah, definitely, yo. You know what I mean? And also what was interesting tonight, y'all talking about the orgasm. I have an old seafood friend of mine who's been doing martial arts almost 60 years. The man is no joke, right? Brother Nassim. This brother, I remember he told me a long time ago, he said that, Dooley, if you go into some of these katas or if you go into some of these movements, they can be very orgasmic. And I remember him telling me that, and I was like, what is this out there talking about? Martial arts having some form of orgasm or orgasmic state with it. So one day I was microdosing with some sacred mushrooms. And I remember that morning I was doing this Qigong type of stance, and I went into whole body orgasm right there. You know what I mean? And it was amazing. It was just totally amazing. So when y'all was talking about the sister that had that experience and having this orgasm connected to spirituality, y'all really right on point right there. You know what I mean? And because I had that experience myself, and I was like, wow, this is just amazing, man. And it's so the listeners out there, man, definitely use some of these ethogens, man, as a way to tap into that sexual healing energy as well. You know what I mean?
Very good. Very well said. I want to share this also. I believe it's a possibility, and Kevon and Acacia and area code 614-301, just listen to this possibility. Imagine that you go into the sea of chi, but however, imagine if you are in the sea of orgasmic energy, and then you can direct healing orgasmic energy to a people or a person, an individual, a family, a work environment. So now, Kevon, I would rather direct a Johnny Pump of orgasmic spirit water into the house of a perceived enemy so that they could be washed away in bliss. Is that a possibility? Is this a possibility?
It's a beautiful question. It's not my avenue of expertise, but I think it's the question I will start asking.
Well, we're going to have to become orgasmic masters.
Let me talk about one thing. I would say that with the crystals that we use, it's very easy to go in and pull the strings in your own mind. Once you begin to embrace your orgasmic energy, you're going to attract other people who are in that state of consciousness to begin with. Because that's the reflection that you are attracting to yourself. So let's say that you go in and you have the transcendental experience. I would say that right there starts the process of sharing that kind of energy with those around you. Because at that moment, at that singularity point, that's all that is. That's all that exists. So what comes up out of that is a direct process that is related in frequency and experience to that one experience of the singularity point of ecstatic bliss. So you have that experience. Even people you consider to be your enemies are no longer your enemies anymore.
That's
because
right.
you've let go of any trauma that was holding you behind the glass of your own experience.
I would like to say also, imagine directing orgasmic energy for personal abundance and financial independence. Kevon, please.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes. Well, that was, it's known as sex magic, right? So, of course, you can use that kind of energy for manifesting things as well, and that may be easier for some people. But in terms of using that energy to help other people awaken that inside of themselves, or to send someone off on the waves out of your experience for having harmed you or whatnot, people need to be comfortable sometimes doing their own work on their own genitalia, on their own energy bodies with a psychedelic state, and having an orgasm within that, so they can even dare share that with anyone. And not everyone is obviously there yet with that.
Very well said. Okay, we're going to wrap it up. I want to thank you. Everyone, give me your contact information. Sister Acacia, if you have contacts to share, please do it now.
Absolutely. You guys can reach out to me via Facebook, Acacia Kaylin Lewis on Facebook. And
spell it out for us. Spell it out, sister. Come on, we dumb now. You know, we dumb down from social media. Spell it to us.
Email is A as in Alpha, S as in SHERMAN 495@gmail.com. You can send me an email, or you can reach out to me, and I'll give you a link to my Facebook page. I really do appreciate the opportunity to share information. I really would like to talk a little bit more about the power of Pure Crystal. It's really exciting that we have access to that, the community. It's our community work. It contains the continuum of information that we're working towards searching for in the multiverse, and also bringing back and speaking about, especially when it comes to speaking about the different realms of healing, whether it's a singularity point. We're in the middle of singularity, so when I talk about singularity point, really going into singularitology here, different experiences that we can map.
Thank you, Acacia. Sensei Kevon, what, besides what I posted on this show, what are your contact information? What is your contact?
I'll keep it quick. Easy. Kevon at KevonSimpson.com, or Medicine Sensei on all other social media handles. Medicine Sensei.
How do you spell Sensei? For those of us who are a little slow.
SEN is Sensei. SEN.
Julie, what's your contact info? Especially for the Cambo. For all of us who want the Cambo, Brother Julie serves the Cambo. That cures multiple incurables. Go ahead, Julie.
Yeah, you can reach me at Abdul K. Wilkins, ABDULK, and Wilkins on Facebook. My email is lovemother33@gmail.com. And also, real quick for the family too, I witnessed the sister that microdosed with during her pregnancy, and the child talked to her while she was in the stomach, and the child to this. I've watched this child grow so far, and this child is super strong. I mean, I've seen this kid pick up this thing. He was in a stroller and literally held the stroller in one arm with one hand at about 4 or 5 months. So the super babies are out there. I'm just letting people know, So, we're just in a beautiful time, man, and I'm just so happy that we're doing this work, man. You know what I mean? So y'all just continue all the great stuff you're doing, and remember, be easy with yourself. Be easy with yourself. You know what I mean? Love is the way. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm having people texting me saying, how do you spell your name? Spell your name slower.
ACACEA. So that's ACACEA.
ACACEA.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and that's where? On
Facebook.
Facebook. Okay. Are you on Instagram?
Yes, I am. I'm like Akashic Thunder on Instagram.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you, I was looking for a particular person, and I just want to touch on something. Julie.
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little more about Cambo while we're on the line.
Oh yeah, Cambo. Yeah. Cambo is a great detox medicine. It comes from the green monkey tree frog, and it's been used for thousands and thousands of years by the natives, by the indigenous people. If you want to think of vaccination, all these people try to tell you need to get the flu shot. Well, stay away from the crazy flu shot, right? And get the real flu shot, which is the Cambo, So especially around this time with the changing of seasons and stuff, it's a perfect time right now to take Cambo medicine. I had a great friend of mine she's a naturopathic doctor that used to work with the late Dr. Sabi, and she would say all the time that the changing of the seasons is the time to do the cleansing work for yourself, because you have parasites, seasonal parasites, meaning that certain parasites that actually go asleep at certain times, and certain parasites that wake up at certain times. So, and that happens during the seasonal changes. So it's a great time to do some Cambo right now. So Cambo basically is the venom from the frog, and what you do is we make a Cambo practitioner makes an opening, which they call a gate, on your skin, right? The first layer of your skin, you open it up, and you put the medicine, Cambo medicine, on the skin, directly on the skin, which enters the lymphatic system. The medicine doesn't last that long, about 20 minutes. It goes through your body, but you could still feel the effects long after. But normally it's about 20 minutes. Usually when you put it on, you're going to feel it automatically. Your body will heat up like very quickly. You'll feel your heart rate starting to increase. Maybe your blood pressure might lower a little. And it works like many other indigenous medicines through the level of purging, using the bathroom. And usually a lot of people that get this medicine, they'll look in their stool and they'll see parasites, worms, all kinds of stuff that they let out in their stool. I had one woman who had, asthma since she was a young girl. She took the medicine, all the pharmaceutical medicine that she's been taking for years came up in her throw up. It has this big foamy plastic type of stuff. And she's been feeling so great ever since. She had like pain in her ankle from a car accident. The pain went away. Seen another brother that was a graffiti artist who came down with arthritis. He stopped, doing his artwork because his hand was hurting all the time from the arthritis. He took the Cambo. Guess what? His arthritis just went away. Now he can actually get back to painting again. So it helps on so many different levels. It actually helps with serious illnesses, pain, all kinds of stuff.
Julie.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Julie, many people nowadays have herpes.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a success rate with Cambo and herpes?
Oh yeah. There's plenty of people that came to me that had herpes that don't have herpes anymore. You know, these symptoms of herpes anymore. So it definitely helps with sexually transmitted diseases. If you do the research, you'll see that it has even helped with AIDS, all kinds of stuff. You know what I mean? So each person is different. You know what I mean? And a lot of this also depends on the person's lifestyle and diet, of course. So, but it has helped with people with definitely serious illnesses, including herpes. Also, beyond just the physical aspect of dealing with disease and stuff and illness, it helps also with what we call panema. The natives call it panema, which they say is bad energy, dark energy, or bad juju. So if there's somebody out there that's hating on you, right, and might be throwing those, in shaman terms, they say they throw the daggers at you. You know, I was always one of them people that, love everybody. But I'm sorry, as I got older, I realized not everyone always has your best interest. And sometimes you have people behind closed doors that might throw some stuff at you. So you got to know about spiritual protection as well, folks out there. You know, so combo is a very good tool to release negative energy that might be lingering around you. So it could definitely break certain hexes and things of that nature as well. And when you deal with combo as well,
Julie, I got another question to ask you.
Yes, sir.
With so many of our children getting autism from vaccinations, and they're forcing the vaccinations on the children now, can Cambo be helpful in removing the detrimental effects of vaccination?
Oh, yes, definitely. There's a lot of people that actually come to me after they get vaccinations or they have to take certain medications. They take the combo directly afterwards so it could flush all that stuff out their system. So definitely, because you have to understand this.
So if a person is forced to have a vaccination or their children are forced to have vaccinations, as soon as possible, would you recommend that they do the Cambo?
Yes, I would. Definitely, I would. Without a shadow of doubt, they should do that.
And what's the age range of our Cambo?
Well, the thing is this. I for my own protection, we have to deal with people, at least here in the United States, 18 and over, for their own protection. If it comes to the parent receiving a child receiving or a younger person, that's up to them. But normally we deal with 18 and over, but it's completely safe. If you deal with if you study the people throughout the jungle, they give combo to their children all the time. Actually, there's studies to show that the native, it's a funny thing, the native people give combo to even their children when they feel they're being naughty. when they're up there acting up, the parents usually give combo to the child too, because they believe that panema again, that a bad spirit around them. So there's children that get combo all the time. It's completely natural. It's not dangerous at all. There are some contraindications. Hold on one second. The bell here. Let me get that bell for that person. But there are some cases where people can't take combo, and usually those are cases if a woman is pregnant, on her menses, if a person is dealing with some heart issues. There's certain criteria that go around that. Yeah.
Okay, another question, Julie, coming from the audience. Is combo effective for genital warts?
I've never worked on with someone with genital warts, but again, I think that this medicine can really help along the lines of many different diseases, illnesses, especially sexual transmitted diseases. Again, you're dealing with venom. You're dealing with something that's going to come into your body and kill anything that's not benefiting you. That's how that medicine works. So if you're dealing with any particular type of illness, it'll go right through your body and take that out like it ain't nothing. You know what I mean? So that's how it goes down. Yeah.
And what about HIV?
Yeah, like I said earlier, there's been cases of people that cured HIV with combo. You know what I mean? So that's what really perked my interest, hearing how it cured AIDS and HIV and how it has cured cancer and diabetes and all kinds of stuff. So, it's mind-blowing because we want to think, I have this disease or this illness, I'll never get well. But there's stuff out there, folks. There's definitely stuff out there that can really help a person. You know what I mean? And we don't have to look that far from Mama Nature. She got everything for us. She got our back. You know what I mean? That's why I don't think it's a coincidence. This whole burning of the jungle, in Brazil. You know what I mean? They trying to burn down the goddamn medicine. So we gotta be mindful of that. That these corporations, that the pharmaceutical industry wants to control our lives, you know what I mean? And we got to learn how to be able to go back to nature, go back to the old ways, go back to the way your grandma, grandpa, all of them knew how to do it, you know what I mean? And it's right there for Mama Nature, right to show us, you know what I mean?
And give your contact information again, because share with the audience, and this is so deep, Sensei Kevon and Acacia and Dooley, because it was a shaman. Tell a story about how they came up with the Cambo, how the Cambo was downloaded, Brother Dooley.
Well, it was downloaded. The story goes that there's several tribes that say how it came about, but one of the stories is that it was a shaman that it was a real big sickness going through the tribe. And that shaman was trying all his traditional methods to deal with the illness, and all his herbs and everything else wasn't working. So he consulted with Mama Ayahuasca. And on his journey with Mama Ayahuasca told him, she came to him, the spirit of Mama Ayahuasca, and said, this is how you're going to cure your people, through the frog, through the sacred frog. And that's how, traditionally how it came about. And so it was through another medicine that we learned how to, use this frog medicine. And that's how even some people think ayahuasca was discovered, too, because when you ask some of the natives, they say, well, how did y'all figure out how to make ayahuasca when this one vine over here and this one leaf is way over there? How did y'all do that? And some people say, hey, again, Mama Nature talked to them, In that case, some people believe it was the mushroom that allowed people to learn how to make the ayahuasca. So, again, it's just keeping our ears open and our hearts open so we can be able to communicate with these earth spirits and nature itself, right? Just like George Washington Carver, it was said that he knew how to speak to the plants, you know what I mean? The first time a tree actually talked to me, was when I was in Costa Rica, when I was going for my training for Combo. So when I was out there, if the tree told me its name and everything, I was like, wow, because it was the day before I was supposed to go for my big test. And, I went to the beach late that night, and I was walking through this one path, and I was a little scared because, I'm from the city, you know what I mean? So I'm walking through there, and I'm thinking about the spiders and the poisonous this and that, and this tree called out to me and said, hey, man, why, it was like, why are you running by so fast, and it had this whole elaborate conversation with me talking about going beyond fear. So, nature talks to us all the time, but we have to be able to be at a place where we can learn how to listen,
Okay, Dooley, share with us your contact info, because I have a question for Sensei Kevon and also Acacia.
Okay, yes. Again, my contact info is 617-386-9502. You could contact me directly on my phone. Love Mother Earth, number 33 at gmail.com. My email, and Abdul K. Wilkins on Facebook. All right?
Thank you, Dooley. Okay.
Yeah, you're welcome, man.
Right now, because I want to go back to...
Yeah, I'm going to mute that, man. And y'all enjoy the rest of your show. Y'all do an amazing job, man. Devon, man, keep on doing the wonderful work you're doing, brother. You know what I mean? I salute you, man. I love what you're doing. Acacia, you the genius, you know what I mean? So you keep on doing what you're doing too, sister, okay? And thank you, Hank, for the show. All right.
Oh, thank you,
Peace,
brother.
y'all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Peace. Coming back around to Sensei Kevon and Acacia. What is the most common when you are serving grandma to our community? What do you notice is one of the most common challenges as far as healing amongst our folks?
Getting them into the room in the first place.
Woo!
Getting them into the room.
And what do you think the apprehension is, brother?
Well, most of what we've already discussed, and I think one of the big things that just doesn't apply to our community, but applies to all people, is we know that it's going to be a transformative experience. We know that you're going to be different on the other side of it. And some people are so addicted to their traumatic stories because they've built so much identity around it. And if you're an artist, you can create lots of art from your traumatic story. And you might question, well, if I let go of this traumatic story, then what kind of art am I going to create? Am I still going to be this vibrant person? So because people don't know what's on the other side of that journey, they can sometimes push it off for years. And there are people that I've, I guess promote is the right word, or try to get into their own ancestral remembering. I don't like using promote for that. But there are people who I've been sharing the information with for 4 years, 5 years, before they even ever step foot in the circle.
Wow. That's
Absolutely.
Tell us about it, Acacia.
Well, I would say, getting stuck on the same old, I'm hurt narrative is very common, and the ayahuasca community and all communities really, it's really a matter of spiritual maturity and evolving and being brave enough to evolve oneself. And I really think that when it comes down to it, the most difficult thing that a lot of people face with ayahuasca is uncertainty about, do they feel safe? Are they in a comfortable, safe space to share in a vulnerable meeting with grandmother? Or do they feel like the cuaderno that they're working with, do they feel comfortable in their own skin around the cuaderno, first of all, to be vulnerable enough to purge and to release and put it in a bucket? Or do they feel like they have to hold it in because there is no safe space? And sometimes I think that it's really important, because it's an open heart surgery, for people to have a safe space where they can lay down their baggage, so to speak, and any distractions that were plaguing them before. I think it's really important.
Very well said. Very well said. In Kevon,
I'm here.
what are some people's testimonies, how they feel on the other side of midnight in the morning? How do they feel after an Aya ceremony?
After, during, sometimes I do solo fits, and during, people are, because I just want to paint that part of the picture for people as well. Sometimes people look me dead in my eyes and they're like, I'm dying, help! I don't mean to laugh, but I've
no,
been
it's
there.
true. Yeah, it is. You're right.
I know what it's like, but then you are dying, but you aren't. But on the other side of it, if the work is done deep enough, if it's with people who are trained and blessed by the lineage, it increases the power of the ceremony. On the other side of it, you are a better person. You are a person who is more connected to reality. All of the reality exists within your experience. You are more loving, and the people around you begin to notice, and you become like a beacon for other people to start, I guess, speaking their woes onto you. It's one of the main things I hear people say. Well, all of a sudden, all these people are coming up to me, talking to me about their problems, and talking to me about wanting to do medicine work, and it's like, after the experience, you become like a beacon for it. But there are individuals who come in not ready to go deep enough into themselves, who leave just as messed up as they were, because they weren't ready to have their ego death experience. The ego death experience requires a deep level of surrender. And if you're showing up in your toxic masculinity, toxic femininity, toxic mix of both, whatever it is, toxic Westerner mind, if you're showing up in that and not wanting to let it go, then you just kind of you walk out the same way you walked in. But overall, people, I want to say 80% of people that I've seen are transformed by the experience in profound ways. Like it alters the very course of their lives.
Acacia, do you facilitate ceremonies?
Well, for me, I am in my journey with Grandmother Aya at this current moment. For me, I do not facilitate ceremony because simply I have not worked with her nearly deeply enough as I would like to in the future. For me, the mushroom is my facilitating.
Thank you. Kevon, Sensei Kevon, have you ever had the experience where individuals go into deep states of bliss, and is it contagious in a healing circle?
I've had experience where people do go into that, and I don't know if it's contagious because each person comes in with their own thing, you know what I mean? And so someone going, this is great, and is someone else being reminded of their trauma, because sounds trigger different things for different people at different moments. So in one corner you can have someone screaming, I'm about to die, and somebody's having bliss, and usually it's my job in that situation to be able to hold a big enough container for all of those possibilities to unfold. And people don't usually come together in harmony, vibrational harmony, heart-open vibrational harmony, until the integration circle in the morning. But the ayahuasca ceremony itself is usually quite chaotic. It's like a roller coaster ride that goes on for hours.
Very well said, brother. I want to thank you, Sensei Kevon. I want to thank you, Acacia. I want to thank all the listening audience that have partaked in this live show and who will be hearing the recordings in the future. Bliss is your birthright.
Hey.
Ecstasy is our destiny because we all come from the sea of love. Oshun has literally visited my space on different occasions and literally incarnated in various individuals over the years. Holding sacred space and allowing, ecstasy to flow safely and freely is very healing and is very beautiful to observe. So I want to thank all the listening audience. This Sunday, September 22nd, is a tribute to Dr. Blair that's happening at Nicholas, Brooklyn, 1396 Fulton Street. We was going to have some individuals speaking on it. However, Sister Kofunia is having a blog talk show this evening on a different channel. So this Sunday, a King Simon promotion, there is a tribute to Dr. Blair. And he did come to an ayahuasca ceremony while he was alive at my space. I want to also say this starts at 3 p.m. On Sunday. And if you have any questions, let me pull up the flyer so that all the listening audience will know how to contact Nicholas Brooklyn at 718-858-4400 and also the number 347-496-1022. That's King Simon's direct line if you're interested in vending. Love donation is $13 before 4 p.m. So if you want to make do with your donation before 4 p.m., it's $13. Youth are free. Doors open at 3 p.m. I'll be speaking. Ross Ben with the amazing crystals, Pafunia, and Blue and Red Pill will be also on deck talking about the contributions of Dr. Delbert Blair. I want to thank all the listening audience. We love you. Thank you, Shaman Sensei Kevon. Thank you, Mystic.
Pleasure and honor.
Thank you to all the listening audience. And we're going to close out. Any last words, Acacia?
Well, I just want to thank you so much for the opportunity just to share. Thank you, Kevon, for just being here on the podcast. I appreciate you. Further on, and hopefully maybe another time we can talk more about Palantir, transdimensional crystals, and whatnot, and the relationship they have with the mushroom.